Hello, good evening, welcome to Newsnight. We are live from our studios here at Northridge in Accra. My name is Kenneth Jesse. Here are stories making headlines tonight. The opposition NDC describes government's renewed fight against illegal mining as a mere rhetoric and a scam, saying the Akufo-Addo-led administration lacks the political will to fight galamsey. As part of Metro TV's Save the Boobs campaign to create awareness for breast cancer, we will tell you how a fallacy it is that sucking and fondling breasts by grown-up men reduces the risk of breast cancer. Coming up in business, Ghanaians advised to brace for more hardships after the Bank of Ghana increased the policy rate to 24.5%, meaning it will become even more expensive to borrow from the banks. And later on the international front, the World Health Organization launches a suicide prevention campaign in Africa, a region it says has the highest rate of suicide deaths in the world. Welcome to the program. Let's begin with a topic that has dominated the headlines over the past week, galamsey, as the National Democratic Congress is demanding the prosecution of Bernard and Chibous Yako, popularly known as Chairman Wuntumi, and all government functionaries alleged to be involved in illegal mining. According to the National Communications Officer of the NDC, Sammy Jemfi, the government's recent renewed galamsey fight is a mere rhetoric and a scam.
President Akufo-Addo on Wednesday, as part of a meeting with MMDCEs and regional executives of the Ashanti region, reiterated his commitment in winning the fight against illegal small-scale mining.
This is a struggle that I take very seriously, and I will not be in a position to protect anybody against whom evidence is marshaled to show their complicity.
The National Democratic Congress has, however, described the president's continuous comment on the illegal mining menace as a scam.
It has, however, been clear to us from day one that behind the facade of the so-called galamsey fight of the Akufo-Addo government is a well-crafted ruse designed to appropriate the illicit galamsey trade for MPP apparatchiks and higher-ups in the Akufo-Addo government and their foreign collaborators. The Akufo-Addo MPP government has not exhibited any genuine commitment to the fight against illegal mining, and that their so-called fight against galamsey is nothing but a scam. The communications officer of the NDC, Sammy Jemfi, accused the president of Sheldon Party faithfuls found culpable in galamsey activities, citing the Bosome Frema DCE as an example. That behind the facade of the so-called galamsey fight of the Akufo-Addo government is a well-crafted ruse designed to appropriate the illicit galamsey trade for MPP apparatchiks and higher-ups in the Akufo-Addo government and their foreign collaborators. Aside this, ladies and gentlemen, is the matter of the DCE for Bosome Freho in the Ashanti region, Honorable Yao Danso, who was clearly caught on tape directing party people on how they should use Chinese to front their galamsey activities. President Akufo-Addo's claim that his errant DCE has lost his mother and will be invited to Accra for questioning at a later day after he buries his mom clearly betrays the president's lack of genuine commitment to punish his own appointees who are behind the illicit business.
The NDC demand the prosecution of government appointees neck deep in illegal mining activities, including Bernard and Chibous Yako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi.
We demand the immediate prosecution of all government functionaries and MPP officials who have engaged in illegal mining, such as Charles Bisu, Chairman Wontumi. The evidence is clear. The Minerals Commission, your own Minister for Lands and Natural Resources say Chairman Wontumi is doing galamsey in the Tano Nimiri Forest Reserve. You don't need any other evidence before you can prosecute him. And Yowusu, Ekwawusi, Professor Frimpong Boateng, among others. This will be the first step to your redemption. We demand that all the so-called illegal mining companies, like the Akonta Mining Company, which belongs to Chairman Wontumi, the Heritage Imperial Mining Company, which belongs to Mr. Bernard and Chibous Yako, a known financier of the MPP, who have invaded forest reserves without any mining leases or permits, must be closed down and prosecuted. The assets of these companies must be confiscated and their owners surcharged with the cost of the destruction they have caused our environment.
He cautioned the president against blaming chiefs for the upsurge in illegal mining activities.
It will take political will to defeat galamsey, and so galamsey will continue to be a political matter. If President Akufo-Addo wants to deal with the problem as a non-politician, he should resign and go to his hometown and take up a chieftaincy position or a pastoral position and do that. But so long as he's a politician elected by the people, he will be held responsible. And if we do that, we are not doing politics, we are doing what ought to be done.
Right, we're trying to get the MPP to respond to these claims. But in the meantime, the Northern Regional Campaign team of Alan Kyerematen is accusing Vice President Bawumia of subtly campaigning during his recent tour of the northern regions. The group is urging the Vice President and his team to respect the rules of engagement and stop campaigning. The office of the Vice President earlier this week denied media reports that his recent tour of the northern region is a subtle campaign. The Vice President on Sunday began a 3-day tour of the northern region to inspect ongoing government projects, interact with chiefs and people, and commission completed projects. But many have accused the Vice President of using the tour to campaign in his bid to replace Nana Akufo-Addo as the MPP's flag bearer in the 2024 elections. The National Regional Campaign Management team of the Trade Minister Alan Kyerematen is of no exception.
Destructive to the party is his campaign message. Delegates to see him as the only hope of Northerners in the MPP. He has told delegates that he has been used by the party to do the dirty job of the party, which the accounts will not do, but push the Northerners to do. In other words, the Vice President is deliberately whipping up hatred against the accounts and other non-Northern tribes in the party.
The group adds that the supporters of the Vice President are campaigning on tribal and regional lines, which is very dangerous for the development of the new Patriotic Party.
For tribal bigot, regional and religious concentration. All that the party stands for is competence and good governance for the good people of Ghana. We want His Excellency Dr. Bawumia and his team and his people to know that what they are doing is certainly making the party become unattractive to all concerned.
According to them, the Vice President is on a tour to play on emotions of delegates, alleging that the campaign management of the Vice President in the northern region is planning to manipulate the special voting that is going to take place before the main voting in favor of Dr. Mahamudu. Let's now take you back to our earlier story where the NDC is accusing the MPP of shielding some bigwigs in the party in their fight against galamsey. And Richard Ahiagba is the MPP's Director of Communications and he's joined me on the telephone lines for a conversation. Richard, let me pick your reaction on the NDC's press briefing on the fight against galamsey.
Well, thank you very kindly. I think that the NDC still don't get it. They are not appreciating the government of the issue that confronts us as far as Galamsey is concerned. They are still politicizing the issue. They are not rendering any solution. And I think it's worrying at this point that they draw all of us back by engaging in their political fantasies about Galamsey. They want votes. They got votes for Galamsey in 2020. And they think that it will help them in 2024, and that's why they're engaging in this conversation. No solutions at all. And I don't think that this press conference has any value for us, except that you want to talk about it.
Right. Now, they have accused President Akufo-Addo of shielding MPP bigwigs who are engaging in illegal mining. How do you respond to that?
Well, I'm telling you that the NDC is drawing us into a conversation that goes nowhere. And that conversation about President shielding anybody, I don't know what they are trying to achieve with that, because there's no evidence that they have produced on that matter. Merely accusing people, merely hearing audios and reporting that as evidence, for me, Sami Jemfi is the one who read the statement. He's supposed to be a lawyer. I don't know what evidence he produced. Hearsay, audio, things that he's just heard and put together, and that is a press conference they're trying to have us talk about. I don't think the NDC is really serious about solving Galamsey. If they really want to solve it, this press conference, about some 10 pages of paperwork, they would have actually added at least one solution from their standpoint that would deal with Galamsey. Then we can engage that. But the President of the Republic was clear just yesterday in calling on all of us to engage in a fight to root out Galamsey. That's his leadership, in my view. But all of these speculations and false allegations that they are capitalizing on to make it a case, I don't see it. In fact, Sami is a lawyer. The NDC has a legal affairs directorate. If they feel that there's a case against anybody, and the president said that, and he was very clear, that let's fight this thing together. And he said, in addition, that he's not going to shield anybody. So if the NDC has any iota of evidence against anybody in the NPP that they think that the president is shielding, they should take that evidence to court. I'm not sure why they think that press conference is their contribution to Galamsey without evidence. So we should understand this, that the president and all of us Ghanaians, especially in the NPP, we are interested in fighting Galamsey. The president demonstrated that from the beginning when he came, and that's what we want to do. The NDC have not come to the conversation yet. They are not ready, and by this press conference have shown that they will not ever get ready to have this conversation. I sent you guys a video to play. I'm not sure if you played that video, and if you did play that video, you'll see the NDC's agenda in 2020 to want to win political office, telling Galamseyers that when we come, we'll allow you to go and do Galamsey. Is that a group of people who are ready to deal with Galamsey? And will you take a pontification from NDC, a party that is canvassing to win election on the strength of Galamsey? Will you take them serious if today they stand at their headquarters in Adabraka to pontificate for you that they are the ones to fight Galamsey? Or if they are the ones accusing anybody of not fighting Galamsey, when they want Galamsey to be their prophet to office?
Right. Richard, so I would like to tell you to hold it a bit and watch the said video you talked about.
After on the 11th, on the 7th, and she say, at the mom, because on one of us, I got now. Said the Bay Union, Bray, or my Jumata Clay. Most would be not a silly. Now, so that's how I was 1 month. I'll be Hine. Now, so the Abba Yajuma. Now, so do Chromo call for Friday. Eddie, and 2 Quaco to Abana, a John Daman Mahama, a 2 direct. Anton Obi, or no, and I don't demand Mama's man, and that's what I home.
As you, Yaban, Omo Mochi or Mogalam say no, Oma Tuomu, Yabama Omo Amnesty, no more Saba.
Right, so that's the sad video Richard Ahiagba was talking about. Richard, I believe you're still on the line.
I'm on the line, please.
Yes, I would like to find out from you. These are supposed NDC supporters, but now the MPP is in power. Why are you not prosecuting these people?
Which people?
In the video, we saw people saying that they should engage in galamsey and all that. So why are you not prosecuting them when you are the...
Yeah, well, I'm sure if I understand your question, why are we not prosecuting people? We are not targeting people necessarily. We are targeting people who are infringing the law and are doing illegal galamsey. There's an avenue for people to mine through the community mining scheme legally, but those who are engaged in illegal mining are being targeted and arrested. You just saw in September, the group of people, about 164 of them arrested recently. In September, those people are in custody awaiting trial. You know about the issue to do with ISO1, an individual who was arrested 3 good times on the NDC and was let go, is facing judgment or is facing trial in our circuit courts now. So the idea is that when people are found and people are arrested and evidence incontrovertible that they are doing anything against the law, they will be prosecuted. So that process is underway, and you saw, I think, middle of 2021, actually, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources launched an Operation Halt. That operation sustained, is been renewed, and is continuing. And so the effort to root out galamsey is ongoing, but what else is being done, which I think we don't speak about often, is what interventions government is bringing to substitute for individuals or to provide alternative avenues for people engaged in galamsey. You know, truly, that is how we are going to be able to root out galamsey or illegal mining in our country. The question is, what other employment avenues are available for people? The government is investing in that. I just told you about small scale mining that the ministry is working on. And as at the last count that I know, about 15 of those schemes have been rolled out. The ministry is also trying to facilitate access to licenses to mine. And now you can almost do that online. You just stay in your community, hitherto where you have to come to Accra, and getting a concession license was very complicated. They have simplified that. So there are real efforts to try and help people to move away from illegality to legality. And those, I think, we should focus on. And I think, yes.
Richard, 10 seconds before I let you go, President Akufo-Addo has admitted that the fight against illegal mining has been a difficult one. Do you think we'll finally win that fight?
We must win that fight. We should win that fight. You must engage in winning that fight. I just told you about people who are engaged in illegal galamsey that have been arrested. Maybe your promotion and information on that, constantly keeping Ghanaians in track that this is happening, people are being punished for engaging in illegal mining, will actually deter other people, will bring the information to people that government is serious, government is taking action. That information must come from you. You must participate. In fact, the president at his inaugural address, his first and inaugural, commissioned all of us to be citizens. I think that call is valid today more than ever, that we must engage in this fight to root out galamsey. The unfortunate thing is that we have a political party in this country, the NDC, always trying to undermine that fight and want to profit from galamsey, and we must deny them that opportunity.
Glad you could speak to us tonight, Richard Ahiagba. Away from that, now the managing director of the Electricity Company of Ghana, Samuel Mahama, says the prepaid vendor problem customers have been facing has finally been resolved. He has also encouraged third-party vendors to quickly report any further issue faced to their offices for immediate resolution.
Some ECG customers were for days unable to top up electric power credits on their prepaid meters. The problem affected customers in 10 operational regional areas of the ECG. The power company says all challenges relating to the prepaid meter vending in the Volta, Kumasi, Accra, Takoradi, Tema, Cape Coast, Kaswa, Winneba, Swedru, Koforidia, Nkoko, and Tafo regions have been resolved. In the latest development, the managing director of the electricity company, Samuel Mahama, says the problem has been fixed.
The vending problem that occurred has been successfully resolved. All metering platforms are up and running. Our system is robust now. The necessary steps have been put in place to make sure that such an occurrence doesn't happen anymore. We've also realized that there are still a few more problems in Ashanti region. They've been worked on, and the network has improved. So gradually, we should slow down on the panic buys. If you are not running low, it's not that there's no power, there is power. Just take your time so that the lines will ease up, and then you can purchase power for yourself.
He's called on third-party vendors to report to their offices once they notice other problems.
All third-party vendors are up. Those who are having challenges should quickly see my office, and they would help them address those challenges as quickly as possible. If you go to a third-party vendor that you are naturally used to, and if that person is not able to vend, please go to another one. Please go to another one. There's no cheating in it. It doesn't change. It's the same amount of kilowatt hours that you receive from each third-party vendor.
ECG is also assuring its customers of efforts to enhance credit purchasing services on its mobile application.
Meanwhile, the managing director of the electricity company of Ghana, Samuel Mahama, says it is unfortunate that the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission didn't give them an opportunity to explain their part of the story before calling for compensation to customers. According to him, even though the ECG is willing to compensate affected persons, it would have been prudent for the PURC to have a conversation with them before going public.
My last press statement, I said,
Right, we apologize for inability to bring you that video, but residents of North Kaneshie have bemoaned how some structures belonging to the Ghana Water Company Limited is stopping them from adhering to the Operation Clean Your Frontage initiative. They raised this concern after several households were summoned by environmental health officials of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly during a routine check.
The fourth day of the Operation Clean Your Frontage initiative. We've moved to parts of Accra from Circle, Aveno, Alajo, and on the fourth day we are here in North Kaneshie. We've been to Swan Lake, and then this is the Ogil Road. So households that are having their frontages or buffers unclean with choked gutters, gutters that are choked with filth, have been called out to desilt their drainage. So when you check behind me, you will see that people are working to get the filth off the gutters, from sand to plastic bags. This house was actually summoned, and then they've been asked to take it off. You have some organizers ahead who have also been tasked to clean their frontages and then deseal the choked gutters. At the opposite side, we have house number GE9 here on the Ogo Road. They have some heap of rubbish in front of their house, so they have also been summoned to make sure they get it cleared off their frontage, and then if anyone refuses, the law will take its course. When you check from this side, early on they had lots of packed refuse, but the officials, the city response team, and then officials here called everyone out, and then they have collected it, given it to a tricycle to carry it to a proper place. Meanwhile, some residents from North Kaneshie bemoaned how some structures belonging to the Ghana Water Company Limited is stopping them from strictly adhering to the Operation Clean Your Frontage initiative.
So many years, Ache, about 10 years, because I'm a gata. Yeah, gata na omudu ano na mko free water for say ombeyi and na water was ombesha de na omse adwuma we de edi nti omu ye gata na omu ya na omu jai na omu tuasu nti later ye de we ba begu kwanu so no na ye friend say omu block ya de
water was for their omu ya we say ade we she ha
ye main water was ye two pipe mu ha na fort bi ba bibia ha na ye ba betumu asa na mo atumi aye adwuma no
So what Joyce is telling us, when you watch this side, you would see something like a concrete fitted in the gutter. This concrete belongs to the Ghana Water Company Limited and then the water works. That is to say, most of the potable water we are drinking in Okankwe South passes through this very thing here. So then the question, why was this place even made a gutter in the first instance? Because if we have our potable water coming to our homes, passing through this field, then it makes it unwholesome for us to consume. My name is Shadrach Odame Ejari, Metro News, North Kaneshie, Accra.
Right, so with a little over 40 days to the World Cup, let's bring you some 3 facts about the biggest sporting event in the world. And the 2002 tournament was the first ever to be hosted by 2 nations, that is South Korea and Japan. Initially, South Korea and Japan had both individually bid to host the championship. Japan then went on to reject the idea of co-hosting. However, they changed their mind and executed what FIFA claimed to be a pivotal decision to indicate how sports can defeat any differences. The oldest person to play in the FIFA World Cup is Egypt's Essam El Hadary. And Essam El Hadary, Egypt's goalkeeper, played at the 2018 World Cup in Russia at age 45. The tournament also gave him the title of being the oldest player to have saved a penalty when he successfully stopped a penalty shot from Saudi Arabia. Now, the third fact is the fastest ever World Cup goal, and that is by Hakan Suku of Turkey in 2002. Now, the Turkish player kicked off the first goal in 10.89 seconds into the match, playing against South Korea as part of the third place playoffs. Right, so need to make an urgent call, but you realize you don't have credit, or your very important conversation was cut short because you ran out of airtime. Well, there is no need for all of that stress, because all you have to do on MTN is to dial *506# and you get to borrow credit on MTN Extra Time. Now, the best part is you can also borrow data by dialing the same number, that is *50#, and you can bundle data whenever you run out to continue browsing as always. Your conversations don't need to end. Borrow extra time now and enjoy the things you love on your favorite network, MTN. Here's what's coming up after the break.
The babies over that 1 year will suck your breast more than any man will suck your breast in your lifetime. So that is the only type of sucking. All the others is just for social fantasies. The men can go ahead and do whatever they can, but they should give the right excuses for going ahead to suck women's breasts. The marital home is undefiled. They can do whatever they do, but they shouldn't give the excuse that it reduces.
Breast Cancer Awareness Month is proudly brought to you by Reflux Sanitary Pad and Baby Pull-Up Diaper and Give Us Floor and WC Cleaners.
You're welcome back. Upon hearing that she had breast cancer, fear gripped her heart, but she did not flinch. Her only fear was to leave her young children behind. Juliet Mills Lutroit was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 40 when she knew her work wasn't done as a mother. From an intense feeling of distress to heartache, Juliet fought her way through it all. Here's her story.
The fear of leaving my children, the fear of leaving my family. I was going to ask you that. Yeah, the fear of leaving my family. But, you know, I've always been the type of person who believe that death is a beautiful part of life. Because when you appreciate the fact that you will die someday, you live better. So I've never been afraid of dying. I was never afraid of dying. I was afraid of leaving my kids abruptly.
Although she was devastated when doctors told her she had breast cancer, Juliet fought her fears and stood tall through it all. Her husband had traveled when she was diagnosed, and when he returned, they both sought second opinions on what to do. Juliet describes her journey as long and confusing. She cried, she prayed, she did everything anyone would when they are in distress. But what kept her going was her love for life.
There are a series of tests that needs to be done, one being the mammography, one being the biopsy. Then the doctor will conclude whether there is anything at all. Don't start a funeral before you get to the hospital, I beg you. And at that point, listen, it's like anything else in life. If you're sick, there are protocols to what you have to do to get better. Allow the doctors to do their work and then stay positive. When you're positive with everything, you feel better. The medication you take works better. So stay prayerful. Do not lose your connection with God, but be careful of the advice the people around you give you, because sometimes they will kill you more than help you.
She says although she's a prayerful person, she did everything her doctor asked her to, and she believes that's what's kept her alive.
With your 4 fingers, you can easily put one hand behind you and check your breast. In a circular mode, you go through, you push into your breast cage, and you check your breast. If you're not getting your period, once a month, you can do so. Now, when you do it every month, you are going to realize that your fingers have a memory and they will remember your breast tissue, so that if anything new comes up, you know this is different. Now, we're talking about women, but 10% of the world population of men get it as well. So I will urge the men to also check their breast once every 3 months.
Juliet wants women to regularly look out for lumps in their breast.
I've met patients whose husbands found their lump because they were sharing an intimate moment and the husband was who found their lumps. So the wives and girlfriends out there, please let your husbands and boyfriends play with those tatas. Sometimes they are the ones who find the lump. So it is important. Now, that's one. When you find a lump, it doesn't mean you have breast cancer. What it means is you need to have it checked. So go and have it checked.
Well, you may have heard that if a man frequently sagged a woman's breast, it will reduce her risk of breast cancer. Well, that is a fallacy, at least according to a consultant at the National Radiotherapy Oncology and National Medicine Center at Kolebu, Dr. Verna Vanderpoy. According to her, there is no scientific evidence to prove the practice would help prevent disease.
There has been several reports that sucking or fondling of breast has some health benefits, including prevention of breast cancer and other related diseases. This has been debunked by some medical practitioners during the launch of Pink October by the Breast Society of Ghana. According to them, this hasn't been scientifically proven.
There's only one sucking that has proven to reduce the incidence of breast cancer, which is the babies sucking the mother's breast for the first 2 years of their life. We all know that we don't want to have the babies to suck our breast for 2 years of that, for social reasons. But that is the correct thing and has proven to reduce the incidence of breast cancer, even for 1 year. And you can see that the babies over that 1 year will suck your breast more than any man will suck your breast in your lifetime. So that is the only type of sucking. All the others is just for social fantasies. The men can go ahead and do whatever they can, but they should give the right excuses for going ahead to suck women's breasts. The marital home is undefiled. They can do whatever they do, but they shouldn't give the excuse that it reduces breast cancer. They should rather encourage their wives to breastfeed for at least a year.
The Breast Society of Ghana is, however, worried about access to well-equipped hospitals and centers with appropriate equipment in order to effectively deal with the disease.
If you have 3 centers managing over 30 million population size, that is highly inadequate. So I think as a country, if we can, as much as possible, open up to have establishment of more centers, even starting from a center in the northern part of the country, probably another one in the middle belt, which is fairly expansive. I think that will help to be able to also control this disease. But it's not just about having centers. You need centers that are well equipped.
Gina Jaga, a breast cancer survivor, spoke of her ordeal and appealed to government to come to the aid of patients.
My appeal is that for many people who are dying, it's not because they did not detect it early or not because they did not resort for medical attention. It is because they could not afford. They could not afford. So they go back and resort to seeking alternative medication. So it will be very important that everybody out there gets involved in this fight.
Worldwide, global cancer statistics estimated 19.3 million new cases of cancer and 10 million cancer deaths occurred in 2020.
Away from breast cancer, residents of Nungwa Adomli Park in the Accra Municipal Assembly of the Greater Accra region face a health risk from stench emanating from fecal matter that runs through the surroundings of the area. Many appeal to get the problem resolved have fallen on deaf ears. Residents of the area say fecal matter is discharged from opposite households, polluting the air and the entire surroundings.
Residents from the area have lived with this many months. Stench from the fecal matter is unbearable for those who live around there and commuters. To reduce the stench, residents wash their surroundings twice daily. Businesses are the most affected. Those selling either have to close their shops or risk losing patronage. Residents fear cholera outbreak is imminent if measures are not put in place to stop the menace. Residents lamented the discharge of fecal matter poses a real challenge to people living in the area.
I'm a connect wastewater category. Nina and fake bear, a war amechi. Wanachi wastewater don't wakame flash again. No fear babua, waje, 1 year in 1 year. Eh, no fair more fair no song. 1 more. Fair dwelling, fair canoe. Say no, la me do no, coming me here, cafe babua biane. One fan and your wow, she won't pin ya beer, your wow.
You start your crying out to me. Yeah, to my quiet and 1 more time watching at the insulin on to me, Sheba. Say no to me, no, Sheba, 1 black. It means to listen while I'm with them. And Yamaka and can never have a dream pa. This I had 2 stores to be blamed in the head of
They claim complaints made to the Accra Municipal Environmental Health Directorate have not yielded any result as fecal matter continue to be dumped in the area. They also allege attempts of extorting money from them from the assembly before the issue could be attended to.
Oh yeah, kakaka am a chamber down in a chamber badra, ni new ban in our beer, toilet fair fatai, John Wake bar, Nisa beer name, Leon any my jail, Leon toilet. Go we are make about fear na fe tamo 2 months to 3 months in nu na kano ka me wana flash keke nu eho ka waka flash ke toilet eho wo brown na adwele me toilet ni.
Efforts to get officials from the Accra Municipal Environmental Health Directorate prove futile.
So the Bank of Ghana has increased the monetary policy rate to 24.5%. Winston Taki will be here to tell you what that means after the break.
Good evening and welcome back to Newsnight Live on Metro TV. My name is Winston Taki, and now to a false business story. The Bank of Ghana Monetary Policy Committee has adjusted upwards the policy rate by 250 basis points to 24.5%. According to the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, this is due to raise the inflation rate, even though there has been challenges with regards to the stability of the city.
The Bank of Ghana in August this year held an emergency MPC meeting to review developments of the economy. The BOG then announced its decision to increase monetary policy rate by 300 basis points to 22% as part of measures to address the risk to the inflation outlook. Barely 2 months after the announcement, the committee has further adjusted the policy rate upwards. In the coming days, cost of borrowing is set to go up as the Bank of Ghana will be lending to commercial banks at 24.5%. This comes after the announcement of the monetary policy rate by 250 basis points to 24.5%. The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, explains that inflation remains elevated and the balance of risk is on the upside, hence the decision.
Although the forecasts are for monthly inflation to continue to slow down, the risks are on the upside, emanating largely from the pass-through effects of the currency depreciation, the recent upward adjustment in utility tariffs, and rising inflation expectations. The committee remains committed to re-anchoring inflation expectations and returning to a disinflation path. Under the circumstances, the Monetary Policy Committee decided to increase the monetary policy rate by 250 basis points to 24.5%.
Meanwhile, the governor has called for the fast track of the IMF negotiations as its early intervention will help stabilize the economy.
The Monetary Policy Committee recognizes the fact that the current condition is suboptimal and will be interim until agreements are reached on an IMF-supported program. The committee assesses that the engagement with the IMF has been positive, and early conclusion of program discussions will help re-anchor stability.
The governor further noted that banking sector performance remained resilient as at the end of August 2022.
Let's now bring you the journey of the rates from November 2021 to what's been the latest update today of 24.5%. So as you can see on your screen, in the 109th meeting that happened just today, the rate stands at 24.5%. That means the cost of borrowing will go up by 24.5%. All borrowing and transactions will peg it to the rate of 24.5%. As at the 108th meeting, that was the last rate, was 22.0%. In July, the rate was hovering around 9.0%, which was maintained then when we had challenges with inflation consistently rising. So as the rate keep rising, we keep seeing the Bank of Ghana adjusting it to fit purpose. Currently, there's ongoing negotiation with the IMF, and some have called a debt restructuring, but nonetheless, we want to see the reflection of these on the rate of inflation, where the prices of commodities keep rising. So as at November 2021, we had a rate of 14.5%, but we've seen it rising from there. From January, we saw it still maintain at 40.5%. But the question was then from November to December, what has kept the rate maintained as at then? But we saw that from February, it kept rising, and that is some challenges. Business have complaining that if the rate keep rising, it will certainly affect the rate of doing business and also the cost of having access to credit in the domestic market. That'll be all for business here on News 9. My name is Winston Taki. We'll be back with sports with Phil John Corte.
Well, with 45 days to the start of the 2022 World Cup, city authorities at Doha say that facilities and preparations are ready in that particular city.
Located on the eastern coast of Qatar, the country's capital was named Doha after the Arabic term Dohat, meaning roundness, a reference to the rounded base surrounding the area's coastline. It is a vital commercial center and is home to an array of modern landmarks, government departments, ministries, financial and business organizations, as well as the new port and airport that link it to the outside world. Doha combines civilization and tradition and is known for its mini mosque, towers and forts such as the Doha Fort and Bazan Towers. In addition to its historical sites, Doha boasts of high-quality infrastructure, impressive high-rise buildings in the city center, and a choice of modern malls.
Well, that's your sports. My name is Phil John Quarty. Up next, showbiz.
In entertainment tonight, the much-anticipated album from Ghanaian artist Black Sherif, which got fans excited, has officially been released. The Villain I Never Knew Was is a 14-track masterpiece which only features Nigerian artist Burna Boy.
Ghanaian artist Black Sherif takes the global stage with his debut album The Villain I Never Was, which was released 6th October 2022 today via RBA Empire. The Villain I Never Was highlights Black Sherif's trials and tribulations. It took me everything to give life to this body, he stated. The one thing in my life that I gave everything up for, there is life in this body. I hope it treats you good and speaks to you like I wanted to, he earlier wrote in a social media post. The 14-track list is a combination of Sherif's native tongue of Twi and his gift for storytelling with Asaka and Afrobeats to create his own world on the album. With Soja and Kweku the Traveler already having massive airplays, other tracks include the Homeless song, Oil in My Head, 45, Pray the Youngster, Sad Boys Don't Fold, amongst others. Nigeria's Afrofusion artist Burna Boy is the only featuring artist on the album. Black Sherif is scheduled to make his US debut with a performance at Elsewhere in New York City on Sunday, 6th November 2022.
That's certainly a debut album to remember. International news is next.
The World Health Organization announced the launch of a suicide prevention campaign in Africa, a region it says has the highest rate of suicide deaths in the world. This situation is explained in part by the limited means of actions available to treat and prevent risk factors, including mental disorder, the text added. Namibia's health ministry says it has confirmed 54 cases of swine flu out of 190 suspected cases. In a statement issued Wednesday, the foreign ministry said the central region and areas surrounding the capital were the most affected, with 24 positive cases reported in each area. At least 37 people have been killed in an attack at a child center in northern eastern Thailand. More than 20 children are among the deaths, with victims as young as 2 years old. The nursery usually take 92 children, but heavy rains and the fact a shared bus had broken down meant only 24 children were present, the childcare center head teacher says.
Thank you very much for being a part of the show tonight. My name is Kenneth. Jesse, have a good night.